Shocking UFO encounters are happening again and again in mysterious locations across our planet, pushing us into a new and exciting age of discovery.
These inexplicable lights, people are terrified.
UFOs chasing them down the road, hovering over their homes.
There are quite a few hotspots around the world.
Objects that are seen again and again. Bone-chilling events that can't be denied.
A beam of light came out of that object and shot out.
No one could give any good explanation.
There does seem to be a wide variety of paranormal events that occur in one area.
That was really a life changer.
Why do they keep coming back?
He had some very high sounds inside his head.
The UFO occupants are very interested in us, in humans.
Mysterious hotspots, where UFO sightings are increasing.
We all went,
Scattered across our planet are powerful spots that experience high levels of UFO activity and repeated visits.
Within UFO discourse, there is a belief that these objects, whatever they are, tend to circle around specific locations. We refer to these places as hotspots.
From an island off the coast of California to ancient English fields to a remote valley in Norway, something about these places seems to attract mysterious visitors.
The fact that they are coming out in the open on a somewhat regular basis shows that they are willing to expose themselves for some sort of reason that has to be very important.
That reason could be terrifying.
We have a tendency to think that anything that's extraterrestrial is more advanced, better. Well, it's not always the case.
How do we protect ourselves when they keep coming back and we don't know what they want?
This can't be an easy thing to live in a hot spot.
Some people who have moved into UFO hotspots regret it. They find these encounters scary, traumatic.
Do otherworldly UFO visitors really have favorite landing spots on our planet?
Only now are we really starting to put some real attention and effort towards explaining what's going on here.
Have they chosen specific locations for permanent settlement? Disturbing questions need answers.
This affects people on multiple levels. Emotionally, mentally, and even physically in some cases.
Case in point, Jonathan Charles Fox.
my whole life, I've been a camping aficionado.
But after a camping trip to Catalina Island, Jonathan and his friends would never be the same.
I found this fantastic camping spot right in the middle of the island. It's really remote. I said to the gang, oh, this would be a really good landing spot for a flying saucer. And those words eventually came back to haunt me.
Catalina Island is located off the coast of California, and for many, many years, inexplicable craft have been seen above the island as well as in the waters around it.
I was in Los Angeles. I was a young actor. All of my friends at that time were actors, writers, directors. And the reason we became so fond of Catalina Island was the idea that you could just get away from the hubbub.
Many of these hotspots are sort of rural areas right outside of large city centers.
So we started doing these 3-day trips where we would have a theme party. And in 1982, E.T. had just debuted. So I decided to make the theme ET Phone Home. And I called everybody involved and said, we're gonna have an outer space party. One of the guys brought a phone. Now, this is 1982, so we were not bringing cell phones anywhere. He just unplugged a phone from the wall. We were all blinking and running around going, phone home, ET phone home, and that's when things started to change. One of the girls started yelling. She said, look, 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 they're coming, here they come, they're coming, here they come. She was like, look, look, UFOs! We all looked, and there was some sort of bright, bright light in the sky. And then off to the right and left of that were two equally bright but much smaller lights. They were moving. It wasn't a plane. At that point, those three lights held their position. They definitely had gotten closer to us.
Jonathan and his friends are sitting ducks in a known hotspot.
There were 11 of us, so not all of us wanted to be having a UFO experience.
This case is very compelling because the number of witnesses and the varied reactions.
Catalina Island, people would see UFOs in the sky, numerous sightings since the 1960s, in fact.
Shocking UFO sightings over Catalina Island made history in the 1960s and baffle experts to this day.
There is an object which does not seem to have any wings or normal means of propulsion. This was under powered intelligent control.
At very low altitude, right over Catalina Island.
It could hover, it could move very quickly. It had no conventional characteristics to it.
Whatever this object was, it has never been identified.
And it was seen over the same campground where Jonathan and his friends witnessed a mysterious light suspended in the sky.
Enough time had passed that we had spent time looking at it, trying to figure out what it was. Now we're an hour in, those lights are still there.
This went on and on and on and really traumatized some of the people there.
More and more fog is rolling in and rolling in and rolling in. Now the fog is so thick that we can't see the water. We can't see anything but our immediate surroundings. Right after that, it got very, 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 very cold. In fact, we were shivering. And we were whispering, what do you think this is? At that moment, a beam of light came out of that middle bright, bright object and shot out to the little smaller bright object. We were like, oh my God. What's going on? Did you see that? And we didn't even have time to process that when a little beam of light came out of the little one and went back to the bigger one.
The strange and dramatic UFO sighting stuns Jonathan and his friends.
So the panic started to come up because it appeared that there was communication of some sort going on between these three balls of light. And the guy grabbed that phone he had brought from home. He pointed it at these three lights and said, phone home, phone home, phone home. And at that moment, the phone made sounds. We all heard it. Not all of us wanted it to be happening. but all of us knew we were all seeing the same thing.
Alone in the wilderness, with UFO lights tracking across the sky overhead and a dead phone that has suddenly come to life, Jonathan Charles Fox and his friends are terrified.
They felt like these UFOs, these ETs, came for them specifically.
I've thought about flying saucers and UFOs, but I never really thought that it was a reality until right now.
The UFOs keep coming back. Numerous sightings over the years in UFO hotspots like Catalina Island force us to face frightening possibilities.
There's something about these areas that is attracting UFOs in large numbers. Could it be the people? Could it be the geography?
The most charged areas seem to be remote areas. Staying in these locations for long periods of time could be harmful.
When Jonathan and 10 friends went camping, all they had planned was an ET space party. Unaware that they were at ground zero of a UFO hotspot.
There were people yelping and pointing, saying, look, 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 look. We could see all 3 lights coming at us.
This ice-cold fog rolls in, inexplicable lights, people are terrified.
It hadn't gone away. We had spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out what was happening.
If you have a 5-second sighting, it can change your life. These people endured this sighting for 2 solid hours. It's almost unheard of.
As is a dead phone, inexplicably coming to life.
Did you hear that? We all heard it.
There was no power to this phone, and all of a sudden it started beeping.
So at this point, they knew they were being observed.
And the unidentified flying craft with an unknown purpose isn't finished.
Out of this middle light, something fell out of it. We all went,
There are many cases where an object drops out or is expelled from a main craft, almost like a scout ship.
and then instead of falling to the ground, it kind of floated up in the air.
If these craft are there to study these people, it might release a scout ship to go out and do further study.
But what are their true intentions? And what defense do we possibly have?
UFOs and the UFO occupants are very interested in us, in humans. They're explorers, they're scientists.
And then it happened 2 more times. Little weird things fell out and then floated up in the air and came much, much closer to us. And that's when things get a little hairy.
It's one thing to see a UFO. It's another to have UFOs come very close.
The ground started to tremble and we heard a rumble. The mothership is coming to get us. I was convinced of it.
They did not want to be pulled into this craft and become specimens or, victims in some alien zoo.
Unexplainable objects and lights that return again and again to specific areas of our planet. For those that live in these places, their lives are forever altered. Around the world from Catalina Island, Monique Klinkenberg is captivated by mysterious symbols and shapes found carved into local farmers' fields. And what she discovers leaves more questions than answers.
There's always something amazing and beautiful about a crop circle. They are works of art, but who is the creator? That's the big question.
Crop circles are some sort of patterns that are pressed down into a variety of crops.
England, and especially the county of Wiltshire, is the center of the worldwide crop circle phenomena. It's where the hotspots are, where crop circles appear.
This hotspot would profoundly change Monique's life.
I've always been in publishing with art. I was editor-in-chief of a fine art magazine.
Driven to investigate and decipher the messages contained within these crop circles, Monique left her prestigious job to find answers.
I was just thinking rationally with my background in art, how is that possible? I just wanted to know everything about it. And that's where my whole life changed.
That change became a mission.
I'm a full-time crop circle researcher. I also started Crop Circle Research and Information Center in Wiltshire.
It's where scientists pool their expertise, witnesses share evidence, and Monique presents the incredible facts.
Worldwide, there are now like 10,000 known, and 85% are found in Wiltshire.
And the biggest mysteries leave unsettling possibilities. Who is creating these crop circles? Why? And how?
Often farmers will go into their field in the morning and see something that was not there the night before and know that nobody had been on their land.
We have many accounts that they saw the crop going down in a matter of minutes, even seconds, created by an invisible source.
And the source does not seem to be human.
The stalks of the wheat are not crushed like would happen if this was being done with boards or people stomping down their feet.
The crop itself has been bent completely down to the ground and yet did not break. How is that even physically possible?
It's as if the wheat is laying down.
Some kind of energy must have been involved in the creation of the crop circle.
If you come upon something that truly is inexplicable and obviously not man-made, how is that happening? What is causing it, and are they trying to tell us something?
And why is this part of England the center of the crop circle phenomenon? The answer may lie in the region's history.
Wiltshire is a very ancient landscape with stone circles made by our ancestors like centuries ago.
Stonehenge is not far from where these crop circles are being formed.
Stonehenge is a large stone circle structure built around 3000 BC, believed to be some sort of astronomical calendar, potentially a graveyard, as well as just a holy site for the people who lived in that area at that time.
Stonehenge looks like a crop circle a little bit. It has sort of that same layout.
And the skies above Stonehenge have a troubling history.
UFO sightings have been going on in the Stonehenge area for generations.
Why do crop circles appear, and could there be a connection with those ancient monuments? There's something very special about the area. It's like you're stepping in a whole other world.
Determined to solve the mystery, Monique compiles startling testimony.
We have like 300 plus eyewitnesses account.
Often accompanied by UFO sightings.
We hear of people referring to orbs of light passing through the area very, very quickly. Right after that, you see the crop circle forming. There seems to be an association or a relation between those orbs and the crop circles.
You could have the large orbs, the really big ones. You could have the small ones. And then all of a sudden, it's gone. Many people think they are extraterrestrial. That's also because they move in an intelligent way, in a speed that is not normal. some people who are so scared when they see this ball of light. We just don't understand what it is exactly. But it shouldn't be ignored.
Mysterious flying objects that return again and again. Massive symbols created by unseen forces in farmers' fields. UFO hotspots are perhaps the world's most unsettling places, where the unknown is glimpsed with startling frequency.
A UFO hotspot is a defined geographical area which has a disproportionately large number of UFO encounters.
They just seem to be intense areas of activity.
County Wiltshire in the UK is the center of the worldwide crop circle phenomena. Around the millennium, it was normal to have 200, 300 a season.
So far, their incredible intricacy, meaning, and purpose is beyond our comprehension.
We do see some that have what look like an alien head. Could UFOs be sending down beams of energy, perhaps, to cause these crop circles?
Wiltshire was also home to a frightening UFO encounter at the town of Warminster.
Christmas night, 1964, several people in the town of Warminster woke up to the most atrocious sounds. Like their chimney exploded and their entire roof was ripped off. They couldn't find a cause for it. And it continued month after month. What began with these inexplicable sounds progressed into actually sighting UFOs, objects in the sky.
It wasn't just UFO sightings, there was all kinds of weird sounds, mysterious explosions, vibrations, buzzing noises. This is something that does turn up in a number of UFO hotspots.
Extraterrestrial does not always necessarily mean something that's beneficial. Just like humans, some humans have positive agendas, others don't. It's the same thing when we're dealing with UFOs.
Warminster has to be considered one of the UFO capitals of the UK. It was the most sightings England had ever experienced.
But is the fact that there are more crop circles here than anywhere else in the world a coincidence?
There does seem to be a wide variety of paranormal events that occur in one area where there are UFO waves.
To be able to spend more time in Wiltshire, Monique upended her previous life in Amsterdam.
And this changed everything. But there isn't a moment I regret changing designer clothes for wellies and a backpack.
One of the amazing things about crop circles is they are physical evidence of something unexplained. People become obsessed. They want to know what is going on here.
There was an enormous crop circle event which shocked the whole world because it appeared surrounded with some unexplainable events like strange noises, batteries of cars went down, and suddenly there was this huge pattern in the field. And we know for sure, I spoke to the farmer, there was nothing the night before. This farmer took a crew into the crop circle and the cameras just stopped when they went into it.
Whose frightening machinery can control ours? Incredibly, it seems to happen through sound.
Suddenly, this unexplained noise appeared. And the noise was so penetrating and so hard that the cameras were destroyed. What is this noise doing in the middle of the field?
Threatening noises and malfunctioning equipment also shock Jonathan Charles Fox and his friends when their camping trip to Catalina is invaded by flying objects.
We were shivering, and the fog is around us. At this point, we realized that our batteries were not working in our flashlights. And at that exact moment, the ground started to rumble. I'm obviously about to get on a spaceship and go away forever, like Roy Neary in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And I remember getting very upset about my dog. Who's going to take care of the dog? Behind us, right over the horizon, came an aircraft. It was so low to the ground, I felt like we could reach up and touch it. It was definitely some kind of military aircraft.
There are islands around Catalina Island that are owned by the US military, where they conduct military training.
They most likely picked up this activity on radar. And if so, you're going to want to investigate it.
We absolutely came to the immediate conclusion that this was a jet owned by our government chasing these things. And those three lights that had been toying with our emotions just descended as the jet went over them. They just went down and became invisible in the fog bank.
This is something we do see in a number of UFO reports, military jets which chase these objects away. And that's exactly what happened in this area.
And it was over. Everything changed. The temperature seemed to rise. We were not shaking. There was such a stillness in the air that it was obvious to me that it was over.
But it isn't over, and the events of that night will haunt them forever.
I became obsessed, and I won't even say momentarily obsessed, because my obsession lasted a long time. I have tattoos on my body that are flying saucers.
Over 8,000 kilometers away in Norway, strange lights plague another UFO hotspot and send Professor Arling Strond into investigation mode.
The Hesdalen Valley is a small valley in southern part of Norway. Only 100 inhabitants. The Hesdalen phenomena. It's a strange light moving around in the valley, even close to the houses. It started to show up late 1981. The inhabitants wanted to know what it was. Strange, big, strong light moves in front of the window.
The Hesdalen lights come in a variety of shapes and sizes, orange to intense white to blue. They can last for the briefest flash to up to 2 hours. No one has any idea why they appear, where they come from, or where they go.
What they do know is that they keep returning.
Some weeks it happens so many times, up to 10 times a week. Many of the inhabitants had seen it. Some was a little bit afraid.
Because they aren't simply lights. Some could be objects, flying 10 times faster than we can.
We have measured the speed of 30,000 kilometers an hour, and it didn't make any sound. It's a light which no one can explain. It was impossible to get the impression of any purpose. everyone call it UFO. I think that is absolutely possible.
Is there a message being sent that we're just not getting? It's crucial that we decipher the mysteries of UFO hotspots. What do these visitors want? Why do they keep showing up at the same places? From Catalina Island in California, to England, to the Hessdalen Valley in Norway.
Why Hessdalen is the hotspot? Why does it happen in Hessdalen?
This is a small little valley. It's very sharply defined. It has a very long history of strange lights appearing. So what is going on here?
When I went up to the Hessdalen Valley, I was very surprised. What could that be?
With Project Hessdalen, Professor Erling Strand commits himself to finding out.
He set up monitoring stations, monitoring equipment, was able to get dozens and dozens of images and videos on these lights.
The shocking evidence the professor compiles won't be easily explained.
Sometimes there'll be just one of them, and it will divide into multiple lights. Sometimes multiple lights appear. They can hover in place for hours at a time.
And frighteningly, some of them could be piloted craft.
You have several lights connected, and they move together. And you can see there is some object connecting them, something black, perhaps 30, 40 meters long, the cigar shape.
A size and shape described in countless UFO sightings.
Sometimes there appears to be a beam of light being projected to the ground. That, to me, speaks to intelligent control. I don't think it's unreasonable to say something extraterrestrial is going on there.
People are claiming that lights will blink at them, growing brightly for a few moments and then dimming itself as if it's aware that it's being witnessed.
Years of well-documented sightings build incredible proof, but don't answer the ever-present question.
Why does all these different things show up in this small valley?
And one harrowing incident stands out.
A friend of mine was sitting down, resting after he's climbing up in the mountain. And then he got this strange feeling. High sounds inside his head. Then he see an object coming out from nowhere, from what he described as a portal in the sky. It was some glowing outside, what looked like some kind of metal in the middle. Then the phenomena was gone and his pressure feeling was gone.
What was the portal? Is this remote valley a way station where alien craft come and go at will?
Very charged energy points on the planet allow for extra-dimensional experiences.
On the Catalina Island hotspot, Jonathan and 10 other UFO witnesses were gripped with fear.
We thought we probably had seen something that came from a place beyond Earth. Even though we did costumes to encourage it. One of the guys brought little headbands for everybody that had stars on them. It kind of turned around and bit us in the ass. It's kind of how we felt.
I'm convinced that they not only were hoping for it to happen, but they probably willed it.
What I do believe is that lights on the ground beaming straight up into the atmosphere attracted the attention of something that came to check us out.
And fleeing the island won't end their ordeal.
We allegedly went home and life went back to normal. It was anything but that. I had noticed that I was ejecting green material in the bathroom. And I said, why am I green, right? Why am I green?
Confiding in one of the other campers, he finds he's not alone.
That person said, so am I. And I said, I'm calling everybody. There were multiple sources saying, oh, that's really a weird question. And yes, me too.
This physical issue, shared by the group of friends, only deepens the mystery, and it fills them with a profound sense of fear. What might happen next?
Whatever effect these crafts have on our physical body, it is quite powerful because it seems to be taking over our entire nervous system. The fear kicks in. What if something happens to me?
What is going on around our planet? Why do some places seem to draw UFO activity? These are questions that may only be answered by the power of eyewitness accounts and the rigor of science.
If you are aware of a hotspot, you should put up every piece of equipment you have and keep it running 24/7. This is your classroom to this phenomenon, to study it.
In Wiltshire, England, that's exactly what Monique Klinkenberg does.
We look basically at everything. Are there substances, unexplainable things found in a crop circle? We ask the farmers for reports. We take samples of soil. And what they found is a kind of powder or substance that sometimes in a crop circle, and we cannot explain why it is there. There was another huge crop circle, the Galaxy, which happened on the top of Milk Hill in Wiltshire, which is until today unexplained how that could happen during a very rainy, stormy night. On ground level, you had no idea what a pattern would be like.
That's because it's 240 meters wide and contains 409 circles.
From above, it was like a huge spiral. There is something very strange going on, and indeed, it could be extraterrestrial.
If these are extraterrestrial in origin, how can we crack the code to understand their meaning?
A lot of these crop circles are interpreted as being some sort of message from some other intelligence that isn't human. Some people have claimed it lays out the coordinates of star systems.
There are always more questions than answers. So I think wonder is the basis of science.
And for Jonathan Charles Fox, the UFO event he and his friends endured seems to generate proof of a shocking and unexplainable force.
I did speak to somebody who said, do you still have the batteries from the flashlight that died? We want to run tests on them. And it turned out that the batteries, I'd said, still worked, but the polarity had been reversed on them.
There are catalogs and databases of EM effects from UFOs, cars stalling, radios going static, flashlights died.
When you go to a hotspot, you are going to experience interference with your electronic devices because you are stepping into an area that is extremely charged.
There's a theory that these craft are using some sort of electromagnetic field propulsion.
Monique Klinkenberg has encountered similar mysterious energy.
A very interesting part of the phenomenon is cell phones. They suddenly die. and when the cameras enter the crop circle, nothing works. And when you're out of the crop circle, everything works well.
There's weird sort of synchronicities and coincidences and all kinds of bizarre effects that are connected to these crop circles.
There was a report of a new crop circle, and approaching, even with the car, at the crop circle, I was feeling a bit like uncomfortable. And I got out of the car and I wanted to enter, and I felt instantly sick and miserable. I had to lay on the floor.
And in Norway, Arling Strond has also recorded interference from the Hessdalen lights.
Some people have said that the radio signal and the TV signal has been noisy.
Is there something special about this valley? People have noticed other weird effects, dizziness, vertigo, or it feels like the ground itself is actually shifting.
Leading some to believe that the key to a UFO hotspot can be found in the Earth.
Could it be something to do with this area magnetically?
We may need to rewrite our textbooks for phenomena like this. We think we understand electricity. We think we understand the Earth. But clearly in this case, we're missing something.
But what if the answer to what we're missing is under the water?
The inhabitants up there told about lights coming down from the top of the mountains, falling down to the river, following the river for a period of kilometers or so.
And surrounded by deep water, Catalina Island could be a frighteningly tempting home.
When it comes to UFO hotspots, some researchers have speculated that there could be actual underwater UFO bases in an area where these ETs are actually hiding out, living in sort of an underwater city. They are here already.
UFO hotspots are incredible and spellbinding places on our planet, where wonder and danger are unleashed.
The question really is, what is it about these areas that is drawing these unexplained events? For Catalina, it could be that there's an undersea UFO base with ETs and UFOs in large numbers hiding out in some deep underwater trench.
In fact, it is the channel between Catalina Island, the coast of Southern California, where all sorts of crafts would be seen in the sky and eventually dipping into the waters.
More than 600 meters underwater between Catalina Island and the coast, a strange formation nearly 5 kilometers wide has been found.
There could very well be a base down underwater in this area. This would give them easy access to this area. They don't have to fly from other star systems or wherever they're coming from.
It sounds like a movie, and Jonathan finally finds out why.
I was at a cocktail party and I saw Steven Spielberg across a crowded room. So I sidled my way over to Steven Spielberg. I said, look, this happened to me. It was like being in one of your movies. And he said, we based the script of Close Encounters of the Third Kind on 10,000 UFO reports. And whenever there was something that became a commonality, like flashlights dying, or fog coming in, or beams of light, we incorporated that into our script. We are telling a story that has happened over and over and over again to people such as yourself. And I was flabbergasted. And that has never left me, that conversation with him.
For those trying to solve the riddle of UFO hotspots, this is a time of exciting progress.
We're starting to see some real attention paid towards these areas. We're having increasing numbers of scientific studies focusing solely on hotspots.
The really great thing about the Hessdalen lights is that Erling Strand began to monitor and track these lights to see if they could come up with a solution to what was going on. It's a good example of how we ought to deal with UFO sightings.
And to this day, it remains a puzzle.
A puzzle Professor Strand won't give up.
I think we will come to a solution on this. Maybe this will bring new knowledge about the science or the physical world.
We never know where the next hotspot will pop up. We need to have transparency between what the military knows with its radar and individuals who are gathering data on their own. If we can come together and share this knowledge, I think we have a much better chance of figuring it out.
Crop circles attract all kinds of people, from every walk of life, from every part of the world, and they gather in Wiltshire.
For anyone, lucky or unlucky enough to encounter a UFO hotspot, life is forever altered.
I never ever regret this change in my life. Crop circles are mind-blowing. The whole phenomenon is mind-blowing.
I have been a curious person all my life. I've seen things which no one can explain, and that triggered my curiosity.
Here all this time, I thought I believed in flying saucers and little green men, but I guess I didn't, because I do now. It was a life-changing moment that still resonates to this day.